Welcome back. Let's do question 9b3. We are required to write down the domain of the inverse of g of x. Right, the main problem here could be that we write the equation of a general exponential equation. But remember, our domain here was restricted. Our domain was restricted, so meaning that also the domain of the inverse is restricted. We have the x values from negative infinity, but up to 2 for the inverse is from negative infinity up to 2 because it ends here. The domain of our original graph was what? Was restricted. Therefore, the domain of our inverse also is restricted. So it means from negative infinity up to 2. That's the domain of our inverse function. So we can say x is an element of negative infinity to 2. 2 included? Yes, it's included. Because our domain here, they said x less than or equal to 4. So it means 4 is included. And then it means this 2 also is included. This 2 is included. The 4 there is included. So 2 is included. Or you can write it like this and say x less than or equal to 2. Remember this. Let's say you want to work from the original equation. The domain of the original equation, we talked about this. We said x is greater than 0 but less than or equal to 4. That's the domain of the original equation. And then the range is from negative infinity up to 2. Up to 2, that's the range. So let me write here, this is the domain. This is the range. Range is y element of negative infinity to 2. Or you say y less than or equal to 2. Now, remember, if you want to work from the original equation, where there's x, you put y, and then where there's y, put x. Actually, the range becomes your domain, and the domain becomes range. So if you replace this with x, it becomes x is an element of negative infinity to 2, or x is less than or equal to y. And then this becomes what? This becomes the domain. Right, so remember that the domain of the original graph becomes the range of the inverse graph. The range of the original graph becomes the domain of the inverse graph. So these are the answers. This is the answer here. This or this.